Hello, good evening or good morning, whatever time you're watching this, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us here in our first webinar of 2019, where today we're going to talk about a funny book that I found very inspiring. The title's funny, but the book is just very, very inspiring, and it's relatable to all of us. But first, I want to tell you who I am. I am Hernan. I am the chief volunteer for Apprentice Worldwide. And if you are here, you've probably heard about Apprentice Worldwide. It's an organization that supports you on your journey towards whatever it is that you want to accomplish in life, in your career. And I started this in 2014, and it's 2019, so we're celebrating 5 years. Can you imagine? It's been 5 years since I've been doing this, and I've been having so much fun. And, we're only just begun. Today, actually, I have an announcement. We have our next global mentor, which I'll introduce you to at some point later on. But we have our first mentor in Monaco, which he signed up with us today, and we'll share that in our global groups. So now we have mentors in Amsterdam, mentors in London, mentors in Spain, all over the US, all over Latin America. And I am trying to convince somebody in Europe, in Asia, to be our coordinator for that area of the world. And it's basically, we're building a network for you, so that you're connected and so that you can feel fulfilled and not be alone in this journey. Okay, since we're starting, I'm going to ask all of you to put your phones on mute. Hey, Richard. Oh, we got a mentor in Gainesville as well, right there, my buddy. So what is this I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it at least 2 or 3 times, so you're going to excuse me. But what does this unfuck yourself have to do with all of us? And I'll tell you a story about a guy that came from Puerto Rico. Obviously, I have a little flag here for those that, let me see if I can show you. So, a guy that came from a little island, which you can't even see in this big map, that is marked with a bunch of things, but basically it's around here. And that guy who, came from divorced parents with not that much money, plenty of debts, is here running probably around 4 businesses, volunteering in 6 or 7 different places, been married 21 years with a demanding but lovable wife and 2 amazing teenagers, or soon-to-be teenagers, for my little one. And you ask yourself, how can this happen? Well, it happened in a very simple way. It started happening when I started doing this. Basically, when this, the title of the book is Unfuck Yourself, Get Out of Your Head and Into Your Life. And I'm going to read to you the back page of the book. It says, what's standing in the way of you living the best life? Most people will reference things like relationships with other people, money, their job, or unfortunate circumstances. None of these explanations make a difference. Through decades of working with people as a personal development coach, Gary Johnson Bishop has discovered that the barrier is one thing: you. If you're easily offended, stop reading the book. This isn't for you. By the way, I wasn't offended at all by the book. The book is amazing, and it talks about 7 specific ways to get hyped up about things. But just to give you an example, once I moved to the United States, and I had a at the beginning I felt a little lonely because my parents both were in Puerto Rico, and my brothers were in Puerto Rico. I started doing what every young adult who's curious about the world would normally do, which is ask a lot of questions and get to meet a lot of people. You know, I probably would have told you that it was easy being here, but it wasn't. You know, as most people that come from different countries know, the United States is a melting pot, and it gives us an opportunity to do whatever we want. But the question is, they don't give you a manual and say, you know, you have to start over here, right? So you have choices in life, and those choices are whether you decide to make an effort and connect with the people around you and also be part of this community, or just become a hermit and live wherever it is that you want to live. I took the higher road. I decided to connect with people and learn about the different cultures that I was presented with around the time, and I've had an amazing time doing so. But I could have, you know, cried in the corner about my situation and being alone, or I probably would have, you know, suffered by the things that happened to me and in my upbringing with you know, sadness, and of course the divorce of my parents, which obviously nobody likes that to happen to anybody. I'm sure that things are happening to you right now, and things that happened to you in the past that were difficult. And I'm here to tell you that, you know, the best way to start living the life that you want to live is to get those things off your mind. Not to forget them, but to basically block them and not allow them to take over yourself, and not allow them to not make you the person that you can be. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that that Gary mentions in his book, which I thought it was pretty interesting. The first one the first chapter talks about, am I willing? And you know, he basically goes on to say, are you willing to sacrifice? Because when you say I am willing, I want that job. Yes. I want that relationship. I want, you know, to make a ton of money. Gary goes on to say, you know, what are you unwilling to do, right? You know, are you unwilling to move? If you're unwilling to move, so one of the things that I tell some of the people that lived in Miami is, you know, when you are complaining about the job market being difficult, some people look at it a different way. Some people look at the market and do extra research and look at the opportunities that are before coming here, and then focus their efforts in learning whatever it is available in this city or in any city. So for example, if I want to work in oil and gas and be an engineer, well, you know, it's pretty difficult to find those in Miami, but I'm sure that if I go and visit Olofunke in Texas, I can easily find opportunities in the oil and gas sector. But am I willing to make the move? And that only comes with looking at yourself and saying, am I willing? If you're willing, then you can do it, right? Are you willing to pursue that career in acting and moving to New York or moving to California? Are you willing to sacrifice not having a family sometimes because the work that you're going to do requires you to stay long hours? And again, no judging, right? But whatever it is that you have in your mind, are you willing to do it? The answer is if you're willing and if you want it, of course, it can happen. Any comments? Does anybody want to chime in about this chapter?
Wow. But that's very true, Hernan. It starts, if you're not willing to do it, you wouldn't even bother doing it. If you're not willing to get up and pursue your goals, your dreams, it's not going to come to you. So it starts with me.
Yeah, it starts with us. All right, let's talk about the second chapter. And he makes a comment that I am wired to win is the next statement or affirmation that Gary mentioned. And what catches my attention is, sometimes we blame ourselves. We play the blame game. My parents didn't give me the opportunity, or my boss didn't look at my resume correctly, or my neighbor didn't see that I was that I had a in my application that I had a dog. We always are willing to point into different directions. And what Gary mentions is, if you're wired to win, meaning, regardless of what happens around you, your mentality is, you're focus yourself on what you can accomplish, right? You're not going to worry so much about the things that happen around you. You're going to focus on, this is what I'm going to do, regardless of what happens around me, regardless of that guy that doesn't like me at my job, right? Regardless of whether my parents gave me or didn't give me what I had. I am here now, and I'm going to make a difference in my life now, right? So you are wired to win. I am wired to win. So I don't look so much about these things. I don't worry that much. All of us are looking at this screen at each other and can realize that, it doesn't matter what happened in the past. It's what's going to happen from now on, right? The third chapter is I got this. Right? I got this. I always tell, I love hanging around my friends. My friends are, the greatest treasure that I have in my life are the people that I have related with throughout my life. That is the true value of what I've gained in my life. Forget about monetary value. The greatest value for me are the relationships that I built, right? But these friends of mine are not going to live my life. Unfortunately, I have to say, you know what? Maria Elena, I tell her sometimes, I love you. I appreciate the support, but it is up to me. I got this, right? One of the things that I always look into is, and Gary mentions it in the book, is whenever you see yourself that you have a bad situation, always look at the people around you that have a worse situation. Yesterday I was watching the Super Bowl, and the commercial that impacted me the most was the commercial of Microsoft. I don't know if you saw it, but it's of the little kids that they're not complaining about their lives. They basically said, no, you give me a controller that fits into my situation, and in that case, the kids didn't have arms, right? But they were playing. All they wanted to do was play. Imagine ourselves. We're adults, right? These kids, they don't care about their situation so much. They don't worry about it. They just want to play. right? They just want an opportunity. And in our case, the opportunity presents itself because we make it happen. We have to make sure that we say, you know what, I got this, and put things in perspective. You are not as bad as other people around you. All right, so I love these affirmations. By the way, I'm getting excited about what Gary says. So I'm starting to unfuck my brain, and I'm going to the next one. Okay? The next one is, I embrace uncertainty. Certainty is what we seek. I can't remember the jobs that I applied, right? And I've applied to many. And the funny thing is, I never got a job that I applied for. All the jobs that I got were referred to me by friends or people that I connected in the past. And when I joined one job, I didn't expect to get fired for a particular reason, right? But it happened to me. Okay. And I ended up in a better situation with a lot of knowledge of what it is that I like and what it is that I don't like, right? But I go into these things sometimes thinking that everything's gonna be certain, that I'm gonna know the outcome. But you know what? Shit happens, right? So I gotta embrace, like it says in this chapter, it says, I embrace uncertainty, right? So I embrace uncertainty is, I know that uncertainty is gonna happen, right? But I'm not gonna concern myself on these things. I'm just gonna do always the right thing, whether I am judged or not, which is always going to happen, right? I'm standing here right now. People are judging me. Why the heck am I standing here talking, right? By the way, I asked Olu, put your phone on mute.
Okay.
I did it. Okay. So, by the way, if you want to raise your hand, you can go like this and comment. But so I embrace uncertainty. I know I'm going to step in and something's going to be uncertain. But you know what? My attitude is, I'm always going to do the right thing. I'm always going to do whatever it is that I have planned, regardless of whether it's going to give me the outcome that I need or not need. We cannot worry about the outcome. We just plan as much as we can. Gary, I love you. By the way, remind me to send you a note later on, but this book is amazing. All right, the next chapter says, I am not my thoughts. I am what I do. So this is amazing because, the biggest enemy that we encounter is the one that we see in the mirror. One of the things that I've been trying to do lately is, it's hard, but so obviously the thing that I struggle with the most is finding time to do exercise amidst all the craziness. So you know what? I just decided in 2019 that I was going to do it. So I've been waking up every day, and I hate the alarm when it goes off at 6 because I know I got to step out of the house and walk my 2-3 miles before I come back home. I hate that I'm going to go to a meeting that I know is not going to be pleasant. I don't like when I have to have tough conversations with my kids. Whatever it is that is the thing that you don't like, so that things, I know it's going to be difficult. You just do it, right? Your thoughts are the number one enemy. One of the things that I was talking to a friend of mine today is, when you worry so much. So let's say I had a job when I was a young adult. I had a job and I stayed till 9 o'clock, right? And no matter what I did, it didn't provide the outcome that I wanted as fast as I wanted. So one day I said, you know what? Instead of working 8 to 9 o'clock, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to work from 8 to 6:30. And then at 6:30, I'm going to go and call my wife, and we're going to go to a young adult ministry and just hang out and talk to people like us that are our age, with our issues and our situation. And I wasn't worried about, in those 2 hours that I was talking to my friends, I wasn't worried about not getting the promotion. I wasn't worried about whether I was going to have a job tomorrow or not. I just, filled my time with things that took my mind off, right, the problems, and then there was no longer a problem, right? At the end, those things started filling my life more than the things that I was concerned with. And I don't lie to you, the relationships that I built in those 3 or 4 hours that I spent 2 or 3 times a week hanging out with young adults instead of at work, those relationships I still remain today. And the other things, they passed along. So, so I am not my thoughts. I am what I do. If you can't do it, you just take the first step and then repeat. Take the next step, and then take the next step, and then you take the next step. And at the end, you'll probably walk, 5 miles without knowing. So this chapter was pretty cool. All right. You see how this book is amazing. If you haven't read the book, you have to read it, right? It's a good book, and I chose it just for us. The next one is I Am Relentless. So, and he gives a story about Arnold Schwarzenegger. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, right, from Austria, the guy, Mr. Olympia, didn't speak a word of English, learned English, became one of the biggest Hollywood actors. Without knowing, he ended up being the governor of California. And the guy was nonstop relentless. He just did it. He just did it one time and time again. He went to the gym time and time again. Are you relentless in your pursuit? What's stopping you? Right? So this is like the little motor. What's your drive, your motivation? Right? So you gotta be relentless. You gotta be motivated. And the only one that can motivate yourself is you. Yes, hang out with positive people, but at the end of the day, they won't do it for you. You gotta be relentless. Awesome. And then the last chapter is I expect nothing and accept everything. So you know what? One of the things that caught my attention about this chapter is that you have to stop doing the crap that you should not be doing. If it is, in my case, one of the things that I was doing is passing by Taco Bell and, stopping along the way and grabbing a few burritos. So that probably didn't help at all. So you know what I did? Yeah, I just stopped passing through there. So what are the things that are stopping you right now? What is it that you are doing that doesn't allow you to progress? What is it that you need to get rid of in order to move on with your next thing? Sometimes you're going to feel like disappointed. You're going to feel resentment. You're going to feel upset. And you know why you feel that way? Because you expect things. One of the things that happened to me this week, which I apologize, honey, if you're looking at this or if you're listening to me. One of the things that happened to me is I expected for us, we were going to a Super Bowl party, and I expected my family to be here on time, let's say. They did not arrive on time from going out. I actually was upset that they arrived a little late, and it made everything a big deal out of something so tiny, so stupid. We had an argument that we shouldn't have happened, and it happened because I expected something, and at the end of the day, I shouldn't have expected anything. I should have just, I understand that there's traffic along the way. I understand that these things that happen. Just, accept everything and expect nothing. They say anger is a product of expectation. It is the gap between how it is and how it should be. This is interesting. So what Gary says is let go of expectations now. Our minds wants to plan everything, right? So, it doesn't mean that you cannot plan. Of course you got to plan. It means that if it happens, you celebrate. But if it doesn't happen, you recalibrate, right? It doesn't happen the way that you want it. You just change it up a little bit. And hopefully the next outcome will be, more agreeable to what you're looking for. I didn't like the last chapter that much because it came to the realization, and he hits me over the face. And one of the things that it says in the book is that, bah, is a slap in the face by the universe. And I'm not that much into the universe, but I know God has a plan for me. And maybe it is God slapping me around and reminding me that I will die. And that, I have to accomplish what it is that I want from my life. He says that you won't regret saying, you won't regret not making $1 million when you make a decision that you want to be a millionaire. But that when you're in your deathbed, you're going to regret not starting the business that you wanted. Successful people, I realize they have one common thing, is they make things happen. They stop blaming their past. They stop doing the crap that they shouldn't be doing. And they start taking actions to move forward. They basically unfuck themselves. That moment for me was around the age of 28, 29, when I got slapped. And probably around the same time when I was having my first child. That's when, everything clicked, right? You don't have to wait for that moment to happen, right? You can basically say that the time is now. I'm not going to wait for these things to unscrew myself, right? To be able to accomplish the things that I'm going to accomplish. You know what? We'll try our best to help you. We'll be right there to give you examples. We'll give you as much motivation as you can, but at the end of the day, it's up to you, right? So I don't want to, sound like a party pooper, but you're going to hear the same thing from me. You're going to hear the same thing from Gary Bishop, that you hear from Tony Robbins, that I hear from Brandon Burchard, that I hear from Marie Forleo, that I hear from everybody that I take motivation from. You're going to hear the same thing. We are going to make our lives whatever we want. It's up to us, right? If you want to find examples of how to live your life, then hang out with the people that you admire and ask them what they did, and then do it. Don't wait around, you know, just do it, right? All right. I see Karen is here as well. Christy Townsend, hey guys, on Facebook. I will stop because that is the book. You know, any questions or comments? I hope that everybody that listen has questions or comments about, you know, how this slap in the face by Gary and me help you a little bit in your journey to focus instead of on focus, like my old boss used to say. It's for you to focus, no? So let me start with Gabby. Gabby.
Hi, how are you?
Gabby, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien.
So I've been praying for you, and Gabby's in Venezuela, so you know what's happening in Venezuela, right? So,
Yeah.
Gabby, what do you think about what I just said? What keeps you up at night?
Well,
You know,
I
motivated?
wish everything you said it was so easy to put on the daily basis. You know, that's the hard part, but it's very interesting. You need to hear it sometimes, and to have it on the top of your mind. You know, every day to try to do your best. You know, that's completely logical. So just have
Do
to
the best.
work on it.
By the way, I work with you already for like around 6 months. I know you
Yeah.
do the best that you can with what you can, no?
Yeah, that's what we try.
And you know, we have within the midst of our situations, we have some fun and we laugh, you know, and we just, you know, carry on, right?
That's right.
Sometimes we can't stop. If we stop and think about things too much, we won't accomplish what we have to do. We won't
That's
get
right. You have to keep
Yeah.
working every time.
Yeah. So I am going to. So this is just a little water break. Okay, we're gonna come back to the same moment. The meeting is gonna shut down. Please log back on. All right, it's gonna give us another 40 minutes. So you know, just click back. I'm gonna end the meeting and then start over. But we're gonna talk about. I want to hear from Meili, Daisy, Sebas, Rodrigo, Olu. You know, tell me what your plans are, how are you gonna accomplish them. Let's do it. Okay.
All right.